If you like what you hear on this podcast, please help us grow. A 5-star review on Apple Podcast is the gold standard, and I'd appreciate it very much. Thanks in advance. Welcome in to the Fun Astrology Podcast. Thomas Miller here on Hump Day, Wednesday, June 19th. We're going to do as promised on Monday, and we're going to talk about the battle now between the mind and the soul. Yesterday, we set the tone about Neptune being so influential this week. Well, let's take this whole thing up another notch because we're going to talk about the conflict, the battle sometimes, between our earthly mind, symbolized by Mercury, and the path of the soul, symbolized in part by what we talked about yesterday, Neptune, Pisces, the moon, Cancer, Pluto, the unconscious. In fact, we could start with that because the mind shows up in a couple of places, Mercury, Gemini, maybe Virgo because Mercury rules Virgo, but it's pretty much Mercury-related things. Isn't it funny how it came together that there are so many others relating to the spirit path? And actually, one of those today changes signs, the moon, which represents our subconscious, partially, our intuition, certainly, moves from the deep, dark layers of Scorpio into the fun, playful Sagittarius. That happens at 12:30 this afternoon, Eastern Time. That goes all the way through Friday evening when it enters Capricorn, staging for, right before the big, beautiful new moon, it enters the constellation of Capricorn Friday night. So Sagittarius all day the rest of today, all day tomorrow, and most of the day Friday. Now, we talked about tuning into our spiritual path yesterday with Neptune, and I've got to say that probably the most significant thing that happened to me on my spiritual path was learning to follow intuition. And I'm not talking about taking suggestions from intuition. No, I'm talking about blindly, boldly following intuition. When it shows up, I go. I've talked about this a lot on the Subconscious Mind Mastery podcast. We've done a lot on this topic. With these planets in Gemini now, I'm starting some writing projects, and a book on intuition is going to be on the short list of that. That has been the one thing that has radically changed my life, I would say, more than any other. Now, we need both, and that's why astrology is so beautiful, because it shows us both in their fullest, brightest contexts. Mercury, the planet of the mind, of communicating, of traveling, of going to learn and see and do new things, and calling our friends and sharing the excitement verbally or writing a blog about it. Back in the old days, you'd write a letter. Such a valuable, important part of our lives. On the shadow side, it can be a trickster. It can take over, dominate. And that's part of the problem. It's called the monkey mind, right? And you know when it's there. Always on, always going. Never gives you a break. Mercury is the fastest mover on the chart, other than the moon. You know, you have to stop it, to pause it, to get a soul word in edgewise. Think about the contrast between that and the moon. The moon, soft, elegant, still, the beauty of a moonlit night, especially reflecting across water. And that's one of the first characteristics, is that in order to hear the spirit side, we have to tone down the monkey mind. Well, now Mercury is in Cancer. It naturally can be more toned down now, if we ride that energy, if we catch that wave. And like I said, there's a whole book here of information, but one of the things that I did was that I talked to both sides of my consciousness as though they were equals. This is well documented in Subconscious Mind Mastery, but I would be out on the hiking trails, and all of this took place in those 3 years almost that I was in Colorado. Biggest lesson I took away from there, other than some great skiing, loved that. I would go out on a hiking trail, and I would stop, and I would talk to my monkey mind, and I would say, are you willing to be still until I get up to that rock up there? And I would say, if you're still, then we can open up and invite the subconscious to speak. Well, you know what would happen. I'd take 2 steps, and then I would stop again, and I would say, wait a minute, we had a deal. Are you still willing? Oh, yeah, okay. And I mean, this whole thing played out in the cavern of my mind and my heart and my soul as I literally worked on getting buy-in between monkey mind and soul to give the soul more confidence, the quiet, still moon, the reflective intuition of Cancer, the incredible depths of Neptune to come up and out. Cut the story short, basically it took about, I'm not kidding, 18 months to really complete it, where I said to monkey mind, since soul over here can see around the corner and knows what's going to happen ahead of us, wouldn't it be better if that voice was the prominent voice? Monkey mind is saying, what about me? What about me? Like, well, wait a minute. When we get direction from the still small voice, then you and I get busy fulfilling what still small voice has told us to do. Oh, okay, good. I got the buy-in. It's like, and that's how I roll today. I always get the voice, the direction, and then, man, I can get into massive action. Pick up and move across the country. Why? The voice said to do so. I didn't just up and go. There was direction. There were synchronicities, and there was confirmation. And that's how I pretty much do everything. Why? Because worry is attached to Mercury, the mind, not the heart, not the soul. Hey, there's one quick other thing. There's a yod in the chart. It's a lunar yod. It will be with us all day today. At the very top is the sun. So this is you. This is a yod that is supporting this very transformation in our lives. Sun and Venus and Mercury at the top, moon and Pluto at the base. What that basically means is there is a destiny in the air today to support this very thing that we've just been talking about. It's beautiful how all of this aligns. All right, you guys have a great one. Oh, we've got solstice tomorrow. I'm so excited. So we will see you back for that and bring Neptune and this whole transformational package together around the energy of the change of the seasons. All right, we'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.